What's the most important holiday that you won't work?
Besides my birthday is New Year's, Asian Independence Day.
Tell the audience what happens.
We have a huge dinner, but before dinner, got to drink your soup. Jumeau.
Nobody's drinking the soup. This soup is thick as hell, yo. Y'all eating the soup. But anyway, keep moving.
That has to be the first thing in my stomach. I can't risk going back to 1803. I got to be in 1804, where there's freedom. And I can't do that if I'm on call.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Docs Outside the Box. Yo, I'm your host, Dr. Nee. I'm joined by my lovely animated co-host, Dr. Renee. What's good, Dr. Renee? How you doing?
Fine.
Oh, okay. All right.
Not even
All right.
Halloween.
You got that late night buzz, huh? I see.
You know, when you post call, but I'm not actually post call, but I'm post like kitty call because I always
You post what?
kitty call. Kid.
Oh, I was about to say, I was like, yo, what we talking about here?
Okay, you know what? Get your dirty mind out the gutter. You ain't getting paid. You ain't gotten, what is it? You ain't knocking boots. Anywho, that's when you stay up late because your kids went to bed and now you feel like freedom.
Yeah, but then you
like,
tired as hell.
But then you tired, but then you get like your second win and now you got like this post-kid delirium, just like post-call delirium.
Yeah.
Where you feel
I know what
like,
you're talking about.
dude, I could do the next case if you want me to. When you know you really should.
Renee's on one right now, guys. So listen, this is Docs Outside the Box. I just got to start off by saying, Renee, I woke up late today and I went to work today late. Everybody who's listening, has this ever happened to you? Yo, I woke up at 6 o'clock, sign out is at 7 o'clock, and I kept snoozing and snoozing until I woke up at 7:05. I was like, oh!
Who's snoozing? Who?
Oh, that's the worst feeling. But this time I just called. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be late. And, you know, I'm only 15 minutes away. So I drove in. They were still signing out because the list is long as hell.
So you missed nothing.
I ain't really, well, the person didn't miss. I ain't missed nothing. We got a bunch of rocks in our service show. We got a lot of people who we can't get out. You know, trauma's crazy like that. Like you'll have sometimes these ebbs and flows where you'll have like really like crazy trauma that comes in. But then the hard part is like, sometimes you can't get them out. Like you're done taking care of them, but you cannot get them out for various reasons. They don't got insurance. They ain't got a place to stay, whatever it may be. You know, particularly in the elderly people, like the geriatrics, like that's the hardest one because, you know, they were living at home and they fell down and now it's like the whole family's having a hard time finding out or trying to come to a place where they're just like, yeah, we knew she was, or we knew he was on a tightrope.
Downward spiral.
And this is it. He or she needs to go to a nursing home or they need to come live with us or they need to go to rehab. Either way, they're not going home by themselves. And that a lot of times is the hardest part. Yeah. That's the hardest part. We see that a lot in trauma. So
I'm glad I'm not you because I don't see that very often at all, if at all.
But speaking of, you know, we were talking about the last episode, my work wife hooked me up with a toothbrush and toothpaste. Shout out to the nurse.
And shout out to the nurse.
Shout out to the nurse in the ICU. Hooked me up so I could brush because, you know, I'm driving. I'm like, I just came, you know.
So you woke up like, good morning to you.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning to you.
That funk. You know, you talking to patients, you in their face, you talking to families. Like, I can't let. As soon as I got the sign, I went upstairs, got my, brushed it up. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Well, look, you know, we've got some stuff we're going to talk about, but I wanted to revisit the question that I asked you from the previous episode, because I'll be honest, I didn't like my answer. So I want to give myself a redo.
What would you do differently in med school? That one?
No, what's a medical myth or tradition you think we should retire and why?
Oh, what'd you say?
I forgot what I said. It was weak though. It was weak. I didn't like it. I forgot about it.
I said 24-hour call. So
mine is more philosophical. basically doctors ain't leaders, right? Like I think just
Mm.
there's this notion that just because you graduated from med school, you mastered this knowledge and
That
quote
you're a
unquote like
leader.
you are in charge of a team, right? Like you're the person with the most knowledge, so to speak, on pathophysiology or how a person lives or dies or all that stuff. Does that necessarily make you a leader? Like I think by default in medicine we make doctors leaders, but I tend to think that leadership, you learn leadership. Some people are born natural leaders, but there's a quality of like, first of all, I think you got to be a good person to be a leader. I do. I really think
Hmm.
you got to be a good
Yes.
person to be a
Yes.
leader. I think that you got to be able to inspire people to like do what you want them to do, not demand them. I think you have to kind of like, there's a certain command that you have to have. There's a certain credibility that you got to have in order for people to really follow you and feel inspired by you. Do
What
you
about
really need to be?
empathy?
Not necessarily, right? Because I think there's some leaders who can inspire folks and be really systematic about things and be like, this is like, for example, like this is how we're going to treat people. We're going to treat people the same way no matter what, whether they are from this walk of life or from that walk of life, but we're going to be extremely systematic about it, right?
But you don't think that leader needs to be empathetic?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know.
Think about it.
I
Chew
don't
on
know. I
that
think
one.
I think to be a good doctor, you should be empathetic. I don't know if to be a good leader, you should be empathetic. Those are two
Mm.
separate things, right? Because in
Mm.
order to be a doctor, to be empathetic, you have to stop being a doctor mindset wise and listen to a patient and figure out, put yourself in their shoes, right? Like we had, rest in peace, we had Jamal Dixon on the show. Guys, that
Mhm.
was several years ago. We had Jamal Dixon, rest in peace. But he was a doctor. He was going through residency. He developed, stomach cancer and he got surgery. And like a couple days later, he's doing all the things that I would tell my patients not to do, right?
Mhm.
Fast food and all these different things. He just wanted to feel normal,
Normal.
right?
Right. I remember
He just
that.
wanted to feel normal, right? And that was his key thing. He's like, I know as a doctor that I should not be eating this. I know that I should not be doing that. But I needed to do something to make myself feel normal. And I think a lot of times doctors forget what it's like to be in their patient's shoes. So I don't know. I think in order to be a
Mm.
good doc, you have to have a bit of empathy, right? You got to have to put yourself in their shoes to understand how they can do certain things.
I think
In
as
order
a
to be a
leader,
leader, I don't know about that.
I think as a leader, you do need to be empathetic. Because if you're not empathetic, then that means that potentially you are not actually listening to the people who you want to lead or who are looking for you to lead. And so sometimes I think leaders can get caught up in what they want to do and not necessarily hear what people actually want from them, right? Which then begs the question, should you be leading those particular people or should you find other people who, embody every single thing that you're wanting to do, right? So
Well, you got to get the right
I,
people on the right. You have to get the right people on the bus.
you got to get the right people on the bus. And I think that there are
But
times when,
you need the right bus driver too.
right. But I think that there are times when you are leading, right? That part of leading is also knowing when to step back and when to step down, right? I think that is part of leadership, knowing when to know when hold them. Everybody know when to fold them.
Well,
Everybody know when to walk
before
away.
we go down into the before we go into the weeds with it, I just want to let's bring it back to the top thing, which is
Yes,
I think just because you go to med school, just because you graduate, just because you go through residency, I don't think that that automatically makes you a leader, though. I
I
don't.
agree with you. I
I think
absolutely
that
agree with
I
you.
think you gotta learn that stuff through residency. You have to learn like the hierarchy. You have to learn from people who are above you
Hmm.
how they move, right? Because that's where most residents, most doctors pick up their good habits or their bad habits.
Bad
Is
habits.
somebody,
Yes.
right? Like shout out to Dr. Durrett, right? He was
Yes. Robin
our
Durant,
general surgery, our general surgery
preceptor.
preceptor for rotation. Like we got
Hmm.
plenty of great habits from him on how to treat patients, on how to treat his fellow, colleagues, and how to deal with nurses, how to deal with staff,
How to be
those
in the
things.
OR, how to handle emergencies or things that don't go right in the OR.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you pick up really good habits from people who are doing things that you haven't done before. And
Yeah.
then as you get there, you are also possibly picking up bad habits. I can
Mhm.
attest to that. I picked up some bad habits in residency where it's
Like
almost
what?
like I just, I became like, I think I realized in my program
You
that
throwing stuff in it? You throwing stuff in the
nah,
OR?
no, no,
You throwing body parts in the OR?
no, man, no. No, by the
Equipment?
time I'm a resident, by the time I'm in residency, by the time you're in residency, that stuff was gone, right? Like
No, it's
I
not.
can't think
No,
of,
it wasn't.
well,
What are you
in
talking about?
the program that I was in, the hospital that I was in, you never heard about that stuff going on. At Grady, I can't see at Grady
Mm.
surge techs. You heard of someone at Grady doing that, throwing
I didn't
stuff?
say a Grady. No, not a
Okay,
Grady.
so I don't know what's going on at your place, but in the South, in Atlanta, I can't see. I never heard of docs getting away with throwing stuff at surge techs
Oh
because it's
yeah.
just like, is you about to catch a fade, like for real, right? Like nah, like we not going down like
I've
that.
seen that. I've seen that. I had an attending in my
But
program
you was in Jersey, like y'all all like
who would
that's
do
almost
stuff
like the
like
Ivy
that.
League. That's like the Ivy League and stuff. Like that's not the same thing. Anyway,
What?
keep going. Yeah.
But no, I had an attending in my program. He would, let's say the harmonic didn't work, for whatever reason, because it never works because you didn't plug it in all the way, and then
Yeah,
everybody
it
know
makes that
that,
crazy noise.
right? That crazy organ. That's how you know it doesn't work. And he would like throw it, like, oh, this thing doesn't work, and it's like, why are you throwing stuff in the OR? Like, for what reason? Like, you do know, like, this platform underneath us is actually a body. It's a person. You can't just chuck things on this platform. That's a
But
person.
see that, but that's that type of behavior is like that's some of the bad behavior that you're right. You were asking me, did I pick up on it? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Right. But I wouldn't be surprised if like that person you were telling me about had a leadership position in a hospital, right? Like,
He did.
right. And it's just like that type of behavior. Like
He sure did.
I, I in residency, like that's the reason why I couldn't do fraternities, right? Like in
Mm.
residency,
You about
I
to
have a
get
problem.
canceled. Hold on, hold on. You about
I
to
have a
get
problem.
canceled. Let me get comfy cozy for this one.
I don't like people making me feel a certain way just because
They can.
like they can. So like
Mhm.
even to this day, like whether it's neurosurgery or cardiothoracic surgery or whatever you consider to be at the high of the food chain and stuff, I
Mhm.
don't like when any of them talk a certain way to people. I don't like it. As a matter of fact, I confront them everywhere I've been at. I'm like, listen, dude or girl, st-
Woman.
stop it. Stop it because this behavior is unacceptable. If you cannot do this behavior outside of the hospital, then you should
Don't
not
do
be
it
allowed to do
here.
this hospital in the hospital. And I always raise my voice like, and I look at
Behavior.
them
Yeah.
to let them
Behavior.
know that, listen, you're not getting away with me with this BS. I do not accept this whatsoever. Right. And yeah, obviously now I'm on the other end. Like you can't do anything to me. Right. Like I'm doing locums. What are you going to do? Not ask me back. I don't care. But I do believe that a lot of folks, they pick up really bad habits because they were taught really bad habits
Mhm.
because they felt as though like some chairperson or some, person who they admire either in the OR or on rounds, quote
Yeah.
unquote, was
That's
a
how
good
they got
leader
to their positions.
because that person scared them into doing things. And then they carry that on. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Can't do that on my watch. Like
Right.
and because guys, I'll tell you right now, like I've seen neurosurgeons talk a lot of stuff and bow down to the C-suite or bow down to somebody, like they will talk to really nasty to a surge tech, but then somebody says, "Well, you
Mhm.
got to take call for like the next 3 weeks." They're like, "Okay, boss."
Okay.
Everybody's got a boss. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, yeah. I agree with you. I don't think that just because you're a physician that means that you're a leader, and I think, like you said, I think that people see someone with really bad habits, nasty attitude, in the C-suite or in some corner office somewhere or some position that they desire at some point in their career, and then they take on those attributes because they think, well, it must have gotten them there because that's how they are. So that must be what it means to be a leader, to be in that position. The
Yeah.
reality is there's a lot of people who are in those positions who, their quote unquote underlings don't actually respect them. They don't respect them.
Well, they fear them. They fear them.
No, there's fearing them only, I think, in the fact that, yeah, this person has a stake or has a say. This person has a say
And me moving to the
in
next chair.
moving to the next, right, to the next position, or has a say in me staying at this hospital, right? Like they fear the consequence of that person, of confronting that person or whatever, but they don't actually respect that person. I've seen this time. I mean, you and I see this a lot because we go to so many different hospitals for locums. So there have been times where I've seen like, man, nobody really respects the chair of this department. Everybody's talking bad about him or her behind their backs. And this person thinks that they're doing a great job, or they think that they're inspiring, or they think, or they don't even care. They don't even care whether or not they're inspiring or doing whatever. They just bark orders from the C-suite, and, you know, that's it. I've seen this as physicians. I've seen this. You know who I see this a lot with? Nurse managers. For some reason, I have seen this time and time again with nurse managers, nurses who get their master's degree in some sort of, administration, blah, blah, blah. They come from the floor and now they're nurse managers. And like the nurses have problems with them because scheduling or, just logistics,
But
or
that's
they're
anybody.
asking them
That's
to do
anybody.
stuff.
That's anybody who gets moved to
Right.
middle management. Once you get moved to middle management or even higher, in essence, you're just basically an advocate for the CEO, the people who are
Correct.
in the upper echelons of the hospital who are making decisions. You just become like a familiar face to tell the folks who are working down
What
there
to
to do
do.
A, B, and C.
Right.
I
You the
do
one
act.
they taught how to read so that you can tell everybody else what to do. But hold on, before you go into the next thing, I want to go back to my question of, okay, so does empathy matter when you are a leader? Right? Because when you pluck someone from the crowd and you now put them in a leadership position, does empathy become part of your leadership because you knew what it was to be in the trenches like everybody else? But now you may ignore that because, well, you got what you wanted. You got a raise. You don't have to be on call. You don't have to be in the hospital. You don't have to see patients. You don't have to deal with a whole bunch of stuff
Well, yeah,
that
I
you
agree.
had
I
to
agree
deal
with you
with
there.
before.
In that situation, those who take empathy and those who understand what it's like, yeah, they're gonna stand out. Those are the ones who are really going to like do well, but they're not gonna stay there
Hmm.
long. They're not gonna stay there long, Donna.
Maybe. I think
Okay.
I think
I,
that
I'm
I
gonna
think
bet.
there's
I'm
a
gonna bet
balance.
they're gonna have. I'm gonna bet that they're not gonna stay there long, and they're gonna get.
I think that
They're gonna
there's
get
a
shoot
balance.
out really quick.
No, I think that there's a balance. I think that there's a balance, right? You can't
A
get
balance of
plucked.
what? A balance of what?
There's a balance of empathy versus what the C-suite wants you to do, right? I think that you can be an advocate for people for whom you share empathy, right? But also try to get the work done, right? That the C-suite is wanting you to do. And I think in doing that, you actually are able to come up with solutions that maybe the C-suite didn't think about, right? They didn't think about it because they don't have empathy for those people. So the question becomes, right? I was talking about this today with someone else, but you know, what is the benefit? What is the end goal of this? What is the thing that needs to happen? Right? Because a lot of times the C suite doesn't care how it happens, they just care that it happens. And so if you can figure out a way through empathy to get what the C suite wants done without necessarily disrupting everything, you know, from in the trenches, you might actually find a nice balance. I think it's possible. But
I mean, that's your point. You're supposed to be the reasonable one. I'm the cynical one. I don't believe it. So let's move on to the next question, or the next question I have for you. So, how do you feel about working on holidays or on your birthday? The reason
nope.
why I'm bringing it up is because I am working tomorrow. Tomorrow it is Juneteenth. Dr. Renee, am I a sellout for working on Juneteenth? You tell me. See, I ask very good questions all the time. You over here ask
Oh my Lord.
empathy and leadership. Ain't nobody care about that damn thing. Am I a sellout for working on Juneteenth?
Yes. Now you might
Guys,
ask the good questions, but I give the good answers, okay?
I'll give you that. That's peace. That's peace.
No, I
That's
don't think you're a
peace.
sellout. I do not work on my birthday.
For
But
the record, hold on. For the record, everyone, I am front loading my schedule. I'm taking on mad extra days because we are going to Ghana and we are going to be doing a medical mission. And I'm going to be gone for, a couple of weeks, several weeks. And I'm just trying to get my time. I'm just trying to get my time in right now and stuff. So that's why, I'm doing this. But anyway, go ahead.
leaving your wife
Go
lonely.
ahead.
We leaving your
Go
wife
ahead.
lonely.
Go ahead and answer the question.
So I don't work on my birthday. That's a deal breaker.
Me too.
I don't work on my birthday. Please. Up until like 2 years ago, you still working on your birthday.
2 years ago, I worked on my birthday. It was the worst thing ever. Just want to say it out there.
Like,
Guys, it's the worst feeling. Never work on your birthday, y'all.
no,
Never,
because
ever do that.
because
Never, ever.
you be acting like you W-2. Like, oh well, if I don't work on my birthday, they could fire me. I have to work on my birthday and make sure that I'm there because they might want to cut a cake for
You didn't
me
fix your
if I'm not
glasses.
there. Oh, if I'm not there, And I'm like, dude, you're not W-2. Like, you don't have to work on your birthday, but you be insistent, and I'm just like, whatever. Now, other
All right. Over
holidays,
the last 7 years, I worked one time on my birthday. Just for the
really,
guys, for the record, guys,
really.
I refer to Renee as hyperbole Renee because everything she says is in hyperbole. But let's just keep it
I
moving.
know
Keep
you
going. I'm
ain't
gonna let you cook.
talking.
I'm
I
gonna
know
let you
you ain't
cook.
talking. Anywho, no, but any other holiday, I don't think it's selling out. I think you can work on a holiday. I don't.
How about
I
Father's
don't.
Day? Father's Day, I work too.
You did work on Father's Day.
But I know you wasn't gonna do nothing for me on Father's Day anyway.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
okay,
Y'all wasn't gonna do nothing for me. Please.
okay.
Father's
So I've
Day,
never
we
did.
get the
So I've
short end of the
never
stick
done it.
all the
I've
time.
never done anything for you for Father's Day. I've never done anything for you for Father's Day.
Well, why don't you list
Think,
them? Because
think,
it sounds
think,
like you got a
think,
list. So go ahead and list it
think,
out. Go ahead and
think.
list it out.
First of all, you be working on Father's Day most of the time. Secondly, the last time you were off on Father's Day, we took you for a train ride, which you love trains. And we took you for a train ride. Where the hell did you take me on Mother's Day?
Hey, Renee, that train ride was like
What
20
did?
minutes.
Oh, really? First of all, it wasn't 20 minutes.
How long
It
was
was
it?
like an hour. It was about an hour, like 40 minutes. That's number one. But okay. All right. Listen, you ain't got to worry about another Father's Day, nothing again. Ever. Ever. As a matter of fact, I'm taking your kids away. That's it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't need Father's Day if you're not a father.
Guys, the moral of this is don't, pick your days that you're not going to work. Don't work it. So that's how I look at it.
The
So,
moral of this is don't do nothing for Father's Day because you're gonna get accused of doing nothing for Father's Day. So that's the moral of the story. But hold on.
mm,
Any holiday that you want to work, I think is fine, especially as locums because you know me,
what's the most important holiday that you won't work?
besides my birthday,
Yeah, besides
is
your
what's the
birthday.
name? Is New Year's, Haitian Independence Day. I don't
Why?
work that ever. Because it's
Why?
Haitian. I just said it. It's Haitian Independence Day.
But what happens? Tell the audience what happens.
We
They
tell
need to
them all
know.
the time. Okay, fine. We have a huge dinner, but before dinner, got to drink your soup, Jumu. Got to drink your
Okay.
soup, Jumu.
One
You,
thing that we need to change is like nobody's drinking the soup. Why do y'all say that? Because this soup is thick as hell, yo. Y'all eating the soup. But anyway, keep moving.
you got to drink the soup. That's the literal translation. Drink soup. So you got to drink your soup. And if I don't get my soup, like that has to be the first thing in my stomach on New Year's Day. I can't risk it. I can't risk going back to 1803. I got to be in 1804 where there's freedom. And I can't do that if I'm on call. I'll be stuck in 1803 for the rest of the year. And I can't be stuck in 1803. I need to be in 1804. January 1st, 1804, Haitian Independence Day. So yeah, that's why I can't I'm not risking it.
Okay.
I'm not risking it. But
For me,
listen, wait. Any other holiday, hold on. Any other holiday, I think it's fine.
yeah,
As
I'm
because
gonna mute you, sir. I don't
no,
know why
because
you
you
keep telling
asked me
me.
a question,
I'm
but
going to
you
mute you
won't
like
let
right
me
now.
finish. You
Hurry up
won't
and
let
get to
me
the
finish.
point.
But you keep interrupting me. Alfred, I want you to mark this as interruption because last time he said he don't interrupt me. Okay. Thank you. Actually, Alfred, play from where he had said that he didn't interrupt me last time. Okay? And then show him interrupting me.
I'm
Because
gonna mute you.
Sir, I don't know why you keep telling me. I'm going to mute you like right now. Hurry up and get to the point.
But you keep interrupting me.
okay. Anyway, so like I was saying, as locums, I think that our jobs for a very large part is to make our colleagues' jobs a little bit easier. We come in, we take on stuff, we take on days that our colleagues who are W-2 don't want to or cannot take on. And so that's why I think if you work any holiday, I think you're fine. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Now, what about you?
Anyway, who me? I
Yeah.
don't work my birthday, and I don't work Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
That's
Why
it.
not Thanksgiving? What's the matter? Because
Because
you love the pilgrims so much?
that's the day that my family gets together, and we don't get together too much. That's the day we get together and have fun. That's it. So that's it. It's my birthday. That's it.
Your birthday and Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And your
It's
birthday.
That
And the
remains to
kids.
be seen.
And the kids. I've never worked on your birthday. And the kid's birthday. The kid's birthday. I don't work on the kid's birthday. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, same here. I've never worked on my kid's birthday. So those are deal breakers.
Okay.
Yeah, what else? What other questions do you have since you say I asked janky questions?
No, I don't have any questions. So in the next segment, we're going to be talking about a Q&A from Reddit, where we're going to be talking about attending sleeping on the job.